Hello,
Hi.
hello.
We're here. We're live.
Hello. welcome to season 3 of the Stream Geeks podcast. This is episode 1. I am here. Sorry guys. This is my first time. I am here with Mrs. Tess Protesto and Mr.
Hi.
Paul Richards.
Hello.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
How are you
I
guys?
forgot about that.
Yeah. Isn't it Mike's baby's birthday or is that
Coming up soon. Oh no, I forget the exact
Today, we're going to talk about joysticks
day. Oh, Paul wants us on track.
okay, we're not talking about
Guess
babies.
we're gonna have to get on track.
and PTZ cameras.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're wondering what this podcast is about, we talk about technology in the live streaming space. We are talking about joysticks today, but a little bit of fun roped in there, like May the 4th chat and what have you.
There will definitely be some banter because I am here and I will banter with these two.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah. I keep it cool.
So what do you got for us? How are we gonna kick this off?
Yeah, so today's topic is the history of our joysticks.
Interesting.
We're gonna look into that. But first, from my understanding, this is your first podcast since April 2020.
This is Lindsay. I don't even think you worked for us back then.
I didn't. I was not graduated yet.
You were in
from
college still, so we
Wow.
haven't done a true podcast. Well, we did podcast in the last episode, but are we going to cut that for you listeners out there?
Yeah, so this is going to be the first episode of season 3. We used to podcast like weekly. I think it was like 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. And then we went all the way to April 2020. And then you all know what happened. And we just let it go.
Oh, well, it's good to be back.
My extended spring break that just
Never ended.
never ended. I'm still on spring break.
That's understandable. If you're watching on the live stream, make sure you say hi to us. And if you're wondering what the live stream is, if you're listening, you can catch PTZOptics YouTube channel to watch the video version of this podcast.
Yeah. So I have a poll that I want to go over with you first before we get into it. So if you are a seasoned member here, you might be in our Facebook user group. That is PTZOptics Pals on Facebook. And I post polls in there now from our sweet little product team. They have me asking questions in there. And this past week's was, what is your favorite way to control your camera? And so we're going to go over it.
I think the best way to control your camera. Can we talk about our own personal preferences first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Probably if you use a software switcher within your software switcher, if it has PTZ integration. So like when we use vmix, that's probably the easiest, I think, and my favorite way to control the
you know,
cameras.
it's funny because I had to work directly with most of these companies. So I have a good recollection. Like vmix was really early days. It was like vmix 17 going back 2017, I think it was really, for vmix 17 had PTZ control.
Right.
And we worked directly with them. But they're not the only ones. You know, we have a plugin for OBS. So Open Broadcaster Software has it. And I remember working with Wirecast, and it involved like shipping them a camera, making sure they understood the documentation on how to implement PTZ camera control into their software. Livestream Studio in New York before they were purchased by Vimeo. Mimo Live is a really cool company from Germany that has built-in NewTek and the NewTek TriCasters built-in control. And there's a variety of others. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting others out there, but that's just a few that offer it. And I agree with you that it is very convenient to control your PTZ camera with the software that you're using. Because it also unlocks some things that you can't do with the joystick. Now we're going to talk about the joysticks, and joysticks are really awesome to have because you can kind of have a dedicated person with a dedicated device. And it's like, here's your job to operate the PTZ cameras. But in the software, if you have PTZ control in the software, you can like click a button and automate things and make things happen automagically because you could have like a different scene.
Automagically.
That was cool.
So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do in software that you can't do with hardware, but you can't have a physical joystick like this.
I'd say most of our
with software.
customers do prefer joystick controllers. They want something that is friendly with the camera, that they can hold in their hands, that they can have volunteers operate on. And that's where a joystick comes in, for
Yeah.
sure.
I really like using a joystick because it feels like I'm playing a game.
Yeah. Where did the idea of joystick controllers come from PTZ cameras? You know, I guess just the need to control your camera.
Yeah, I mean, I think that so there's a couple things that predate it. One is literally like Pac-Man.
Ah,
So like from like
yes.
which came out a long time ago, and they'd have these little joysticks. I think those were some of the early joysticks. Was Pac-Man and things like that. Then in the security camera industry, which predates a lot of the PTZ cameras and live streaming, had these so that they could like zoom in like a prison or a jail and like see what's going on from a security perspective. And then our first PTZ joystick came out. It was actually the predecessor to this joystick that we're showing today, the HuddleCamHD Joy. It was called the HC Joy, and it came out, I'm going to guess, in 2016, about 8 years
You
ago.
have the OG
Yeah,
Or
she was
picture
pretty
too,
cute.
don't
7
you?
years ago.
You want to pull up a picture? Or
So
can
I
we pull
have
up
a picture of it. We found one on eBay. If you would like our old joystick controller, there seems to be one left online.
One left out
Um,
there.
It actually brings back kind of bad memories just because of how much better our new joysticks are and all the features that are there. That the very first joystick, one of the things that we do here at PTZOptics a lot is we'll release a product and then we'll listen to the customers over and over and over again. And now we're on the 4th generation. So this is so much better than our first joystick. It's almost hard to look at the old one.
Yeah, Paul was cringing and wasn't sure if he wanted to show it to everyone.
Hey,
Yeah.
you got to start
I think
somewhere.
it's endearing.
I mean, I have
Yes.
the desktop capture coming out via NDI to Mike, so he's welcome to.
Yeah, let's show
Um,
a picture of the very first HuddleCamHD joystick.
If oh, he's got it there. This is
Look
it.
at her.
And I know it's legit because it's got the HuddleCamHD Joy sticker on the back.
So this is the first one. This is
this is the
before IP
original.
joysticks.
This is before, yes, and IP joysticks really changed the game. So we'll look at some of the IP joysticks too, but this is still traditional serial joystick control.
What's the difference between serial control and IP control for those who are new to the
Good
game?
question.
So that's a great question because with serial, there's a couple big things. One is with IP joysticks, you can just plug one cable into it and it'll provide power for the joystick and control and video for the SuperJoy because the SuperJoy has an HDMI output.
Right.
So you really get a lot of goodness out of that Ethernet. With a serial joystick, you are going to need to plug it into power because serial control does not provide power. It's just control. But the nice thing about serial joysticks is they're very plug and play. You literally plug the joystick into the camera and it controls it. It doesn't need an IP address. You don't need to know how to run a network or anything. So people still really like the simple plug and play. And the interesting thing with these serial joysticks is that you can daisy chain multiple cameras together, which a lot of times makes sense to daisy chain them. Like, so what a daisy chain is, the first cable from the joystick goes to the first camera, and then a cable from the first camera goes to the second camera, and then there's a cable that and it's called a daisy
Literally
chain.
creating a chain.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kind of like a flower headband that you would make out of like clover flowers whenever you were a kid. Anybody
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Little flower child over here. Okay.
Why do you think they call it a daisy chain?
There you go. Okay. So before we get too off topic, I just want to go over some of y'all's favorite ways to control your camera. And it looks like the top 3 in the running are the PTZOptics hardware, PTJoy G4, SuperJoy, etc. Coming in second place is software, the CMP, vmix, OBS plugin, PTZOptics control app, Zoom, etc. And then third-party hardware, Stream Deck, gaming pad.
Those are
all
in
that good stuff.
now. Did those have results from the polls yet? Or
That's the
Yeah,
order
yeah,
of the results,
yeah.
isn't it?
Oh,
46%, 27%, and 23%. And then there's a couple other 1%.
So 46% would prefer a hardware joystick.
Yes.
Interesting.
I would have
As I
thought that
suspected.
software would have been the most popular.
Mhm.
Speaking of the CMP, though, something that a lot of here's a tip, like if you're trying to get the younger generation involved in like your church or your house of worship and
Your
you want them to
school.
volunteer at a school, you can control the cameras with an Xbox controller. And I've noticed that children under the age of almost any age gravitate towards these joysticks that are on the game pads. It just reminds them of video games. So, and I think we do live in a world where it's like we're trying to transition children away from playing so many video games.
Sure.
And this is an interesting opportunity to be like, hey, this is a real career, live streaming, video production, broadcast technology, but through something that you're familiar with as you grew up with video games.
Yeah.
That's
Isn't
a
it
nice
crazy?
little fun fact.
Like how this is a real career, like being a live streamer.
We're pretty lucky, huh?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
it's a real
about that.
career.
That we're pretty fortunate.
There's millions of people in the broadcast industry.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
not even like talking about people on Twitch and YouTube.
Oh my gosh, I
Yeah,
know.
just
Seriously, if you think
creators.
about the
Yeah.
creator community, it's way bigger than it's tens of millions.
Mm.
St. Paul's
Really?
Lutheran Church says that they love the OBS app. They love the presets, but they're struggling with the last firmware update.
The
Mm.
last firmware update fixed it. I think is what they're saying.
After Joystick firmware update, the presets.
That's one of the things with OBS is a free software. It's open source. So sometimes they'll change something in like OBS 28 to OBS 29, and then we have to go fix it.
Yeah, what you've
It's
created.
not as easy as we've been working with vmix for like 8 years, and it's never broken because it's a closed source business and they do things differently. Okay, so what else you got
Alrighty.
for us, Lindsay?
So we already went over when the first joystick came out, which you said was in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and it was that cute little joystick. How have our joysticks evolved over time?
Ooh, that's another good one.
All right, so I have a memory of this because I was there during all the releases. You know, the layouts are getting better.
Mhm.
And from an intuitive perspective, there was a time when you had to like click the camera that you wanted, you had to click and then like type it in and hit enter. But what a lot of people need is to be able to quickly switch between multiple cameras. So we created these hotkeys on the side. Another thing that's been evolving and changing a lot that is nice is the access, and this is going to sound like it should have been there the whole time, but it wasn't. The access to the pan, tilt, and zoom speeds is something that we've made very easy. And not only that, but the speed between presets, which we're going to show off on today's show. And I'll give you a couple examples. Like a lot of times our customers are tracking someone on a stage. And generally, if you've got a PTZ camera set up at the back of the auditorium or whatever, you zoom it in and you're really just tracking them left to right. And so you can turn the tilt speed, which is up and down, almost to 0 because you don't want to accidentally like go real high up or down because you don't need to. But you can then also get the tilt speed locked in so that it's a nice amount left and right, so that when you go all the way to the left, it's not too fast and it's just right. So putting in those details. And then of course, there's some other things like focus, for example. We added some new things to do a autofocus real quick, which it used to be back in the day, just like it would be like you had to turn autofocus off and then turn autofocus on. But now like they've done a lot of things like automatically. Like if you're adjusting the focus, you clearly don't need autofocus on, for
So
example.
it just automatically turns off when you start adjusting the knob.
Yeah. So things like that.
There's some aesthetic benefits or improvements as well to it. Just the black hardware shell, the rubberized buttons. Does the Super Joy light up? I forget.
The Super Joy lights up.
The
That's a
Super
good
Joy
point.
lights up. So, and the Super Joy, you can probably guess is our most advanced joystick. So things like that brings it closer to what you see in sort of those fun audio mixer boards. So there's definitely some aesthetic improvements too.
Does the new G4 light up?
This
No.
joystick has a backlit LCD screen, so the screen itself will light up, but the buttons do not light up. But that's why the buttons are white, with black lettering. So even in a dark situation, you should
can
be able
still
to.
see them.
And it's the layout is just so intuitive. Like you practically don't even need to know what they say after you've used it for a couple hours because it's very straightforward. It's like, here's your cameras, here's your presets, and then there's some additional things here, but it's enough that like if you're a camera operator, you can practically do it with your eyes closed.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, I think we covered most of the hard questions. How much time do we have?
We've got
We
some
have
time to
kill.
11
Time.
minutes left.
What's going on in the
Um,
chat?
So let's transition over to a couple other things then. So today we're gonna do the HuddleCamHD
Mhm.
HC Joy G4. This is one of those products, by the way. I'll just mention that the name of it is the SKU, which I
Yeah.
do want to move away from because I like it when a product has like a real name,
Like the Super Joy.
Yeah.
like the Super Joy. So something from a marketing perspective.
To consider.
Mrs.
What should we
HuddleCam
name
over here.
our
I like your
upcoming
the color of
joysticks?
your dress too. It's HuddleCam
I'm
HuddleCam
dressed.
orange.
If you're listening and not watching, you won't be able to tell us, but I'm dressed in a bright orange dress in celebration of HuddleCam's release today. So you'll have to check out the YouTube channel to see what the dress is.
Where's your dress from? Give us a haul.
Hold on. Oh, this dress is from Marshall's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's just a Marshall's dress.
Marshall's
Love Marshall's.
Love a
But I forget
thrifty find.
Black
Not thrifty,
something
but-
is the company. Black Velvet. No, is it Black Velvet? I can't remember. You'll have to check the tag for me later.
Okay.
Yes, I love the silky prints right now.
Yeah, it's like a silky dress, and you wore that in NAB,
That's
and
right.
it looked fire.
If you're watching on the YouTube channel and you're in the live chat, let us know how you're controlling your cameras or your production. Let us know what you're using so you can be part of the conversation today. If you're just hopping on, we are in our pre-show podcast, which we just recently started. So yeah, we're just hanging out before the live show begins, before we start talking about the joystick.
Now, to answer your question a little more fully, Lindsay, regarding what the evolution of the cameras, one thing that has been added that we're going to show today is there is a new basic mode, and then there is a new matrix mode.
I saw that. What is this matrix? Well, I mean, I guess we don't really want to get into it too much before the actual like show, but
Yeah, well, I
For-
can explain what they
yeah,
are.
for
and then
those that
we'll
are
show
only
them.
going to listen to the podcast,
Yeah.
let's dive into this matrix mode. I want to know about the
So the
matrix.
matrix mode is basically when you go into the matrix through the joystick itself,
Mode. Okay.
and then you realize that you're actually in a dream,
Okay.
and essentially you're operating cameras with AI.
So
Yeah,
so you
pretty
can
much.
so when you intentionally lucid dream, you can control your dreams through the HC Joy G4.
There you go.
Yep.
You
It's
gotta
it's
figure it
as
out.
if someone else is controlling you with the joystick. You
Whoa.
realize that. It's
Whoa.
like basically when you hit the matrix mode, like you realize that you've been dreaming your whole life.
Whoa.
RevDev Anthony from Michigan is using the software app to control one PTZ camera, looking to add more cameras and interested in a controller. Well, then today's the perfect time to be joining the show because we're basically talking about all of our control options.
Yeah, there's a lot of great control options. You know, today we're looking at the serial joystick, and then I do actually now need to just explain exactly what the matrix mode is because
Wait, before
We're
we
going to
get
scare
into it-
people.
Wait,
Gonna be
okay.
like, what
I,
have you invented?
I have a fun question. Do you think we'd ever be able to control them with VR? Like,
I've actually
Oh.
or like, have you seen it?
I've actually seen some things where it's not necessarily VR, but you wear goggles, okay, like
Yeah.
VR goggles, but
Yeah,
instead,
like what if like there's ooh, sorry. I just hit the mic if you heard that. But yeah, like what if there's like cameras in the wild and then it's live, but you have the VR goggles on
and you can control
and
it.
by the way that you're looking around, and then can we patent that? Put a pin in that. Write that down. Whoever's out there,
I've seen some things like that, honestly, and it's not a bad idea. One of the things I saw at CES actually was you put your phone into these
Yes.
goggles.
Oh.
And then as you twist the goggles, it actually zooms the phone in. So
And
like
makes it
if
more.
you're like trying to watch your son play soccer or something in a stadium and you put your phone in to
Forget
these goggles,
binoculars.
you can see them. You can zoom in to like real life. Very
That's crazy.
strange. So anywho, all right. So the matrix mode is kind of cool. It's ideal if you have 3 cameras, because what it does is there's 9 buttons here. Okay, so if a matrix is kind of like a 3x3 grid, if you will. And so the first 3 buttons are preset 1, 2, 3 on camera 1. 4, 5, and 6 are the presets 1, 2, 3 on camera 2. And then 7, 8, and 9 are presets 1, 2, 3 on camera 3. So basically it turns the controller, gives it the ability to control 3 cameras basically at the same time.
3 presets on 3 cameras at the same time.
Yeah. So that's what matrix mode does.
Okay.
Now basic mode, what that does is it turns the joystick into basically so that people can't screw things up. So if you hit, there's
Sounds good
2
for
basic
reference.
modes. This is designed for you, Lindsay. I just kidding.
Hey, now.
But there's basic mode off, which is essentially what you would assume would be like everything works. But then when you hit basic mode, you've got 2 basic modes. You've got basic mode PTZ disabled and basic mode PTZ enabled. So right now, the joystick does nothing because I'm in basic mode PTZ disabled. All the person can do is call presets, and that's
Oh.
it. If you go to basic mode PTZ enabled, you can control. Oh, I'm messing up the cameras for
I would
Mike.
say.
Sorry,
you're
Mike.
demonstrating.
Oh no!
You're demonstrating.
Did I mess up the camera pretty
They'll
bad?
fix it.
I'm
Zoom it in.
sorry, Mike. What did I do?
You
What
were
was I
making fun
doing?
of
I'm
me
sorry. I
and
was
needing basic mode.
all right, here I'm moving this, but I also messed up the colors, I think. My gosh, I'm sorry.
Yes System is using an IP Joy G3. Radio AI is using a Stream Deck XL and a Nintendo joystick.
Whoa.
Michael is using an HC Joy 2 G2. Wow, throwback.
Oh, throwback.
Time to upgrade. Just kidding.
Time to upgrade. We have the G4 just coming out,
Please
Michael.
send us a
so
picture of your HC joist. Thank you
is
for fixing that,
perfect.
Michael. Sorry, I had it on camera too, and I was doing all kinds of. This is why Michael doesn't like me to do this, but I still do it anyway. Sorry, Mike.
Well, we're demoing today, so we need to have a safety cam.
By
for
the way,
you.
though, I would love for anybody who has an HC Joy of any generation to email it to Lindsay.
Yeah, then I could do like a throwback Thursday or something like that.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
I mean, just looking at the HC Joy, it wasn't
The
even
original-
the G1. It was just HC Joy.
If you
It-
have an
yeah.
HC Joy, let us know.
Yeah.
We need to see it.
I'm literally
Is
going
it
to.
still
'Cause we don't
working?
have one.
I'm going to create a museum.
Eventually.
We should have a museum in here.
We
That'd be
should
kind
have
of
a little
fun.
That would be a
museum.
really cool like wall art, just
Yeah.
like every
Yeah.
generation of the joystick. And we may need to purchase this G1 one on eBay just for the museum.
I feel like we should purchase it. Anthony says that's called head tracking, been used in the RC community for many years.
Yeah, it's out there. What you
Whoa.
were saying.
I thought I
Ah,
invented something.
Timothy has the PT Joy G3 IP super controller.
Oh
Super.
yes, the G3, and now we're on the G4.
Yeah.
But the G3 was a really good run, and that one added a lot of the benefits of IP control with
What led us to the Super Joy.
many of the improvements that happened over
Who
the
out
years.
there is using a Super Joy?
Yeah, if you've got the Super Joy, now's your chance to say you're super
Sean's-
cool.
Sean said he's gonna bid up that
He's
that
gonna bid up the
joystick.
HC Joy.
sh-
I'm
put
gonna
the
share
link
the
in the
link.
chat.
I wanna
Somebody's
share
gonna
the
buy
link
it.
in the chat.
But we don't want to get the
Don't bid it up too high. I'm planning on
because
buying
we're gonna
that.
buy it.
I'm gonna share. I don't know if I'm allowed to share this link in the chat. I think that would be like spamming almost.
It
Somebody's
should let
gonna-
you if you're logged in.
Someone's gonna whoever owns this
Okay.
joystick is just gonna be like, why is what's going on?
Why is it going worth more than like we
Why-
paid for
why-
it?
Yeah.
By the way, we do have a Zoom call opening for Q&A at the end of today's show. So we'll share a link in the chat if you wanted to join today's Zoom meeting.
Oh, we do have a Zoom today.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we have 3 minutes left. Do we want to wrap up before the live show?
Yeah, I mean, I think we
Okay.
should wrap it up.
Okay.
Um,
Paul looks so concerned. He's like, yeah, of course we should wrap it up. Okay. So thank you for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching and interacting with us. And stay tuned for the live show. I'm Lindsay, your host with Tess and Paul, and we'll see you next time on the String Geeks podcast.
Thanks, everybody.
Woo!
Available
Yay.
now on Apple Podcasts.
Is it on Spotify?
It was.
Mm.
The way that podcasts work,
It will be.
it could be. Gotta be careful what you promise, Tess, because you say it will be.
What's
That's
it on
not-
now? Podbean?
Yeah,
Bean
that's true.
Pod?
So Podbean is a podcast distribution service that connects to all the others for
Got
you.
it.
So it's like it hosts the podcasts. So we are using it, so it should work.
Oh, Anthony has the Super Joy and would love to see the spring-loaded focus dial replaced with a non-spring dial.
Whoa.
Oh. See? This is the type of thing I'm going to write that down. This is exactly how we have improved our joysticks, is just
Yep.
simply listening, and we have heard that. In fact, somebody told the engineers, by the way, this is the danger of this though. You can listen to people and then they tell you that they want something absurd, and then if you believe everyone, then you're in trouble. That's why Lindsay's doing these polls, because recently someone told the engineers that they didn't like the twist on the joystick to zoom.
And
And
then they wondered.
that
There was,
blew
like,
my mind, because I was
98%.
like, well, how are you going to zoom then? And we posted it on the poll, and it came out that, what was it, Lindsay? 80% of the people like the twist.
Oh, I can actually check. I have 58 seconds. Can she do it?
So, I mean, I get it. Some people want different things, and sometimes we can even build features into the joysticks to have those things put in.
97% said yes, I enjoy the joystick's twist to zoom feature. 3% said no, I wish the joystick could
That's
only
one of
pan
those.
tilt while another area handled zoom. And I think that was just one person.
Yeah, so one person does not want the joystick to twist. And I get it. If we can add that feature, we will put it in there, but it'll be like a checkbox in the bottom of the settings area.
Right.
All right, guys, 15 seconds. I guess we'll get started soon. So am I the host now?
So are we
You can do the intro to the
Do-
real show.
gonna like fade? I guess we should have discussed this before.
Kick it off, Paul.
Here we go.